Today, I'm joined now by the Governor of Kaduna State, His Excellency Sani. Your Excellency, thank you very much for your patience.
Thank you, my brother Terry.
I'd like us to start off with security. I know it's been just about 3 months since you assumed office, and I know that before now you were very much concerned about the security situation in Kaduna State, and you were very much looking to prioritize it in your administration. So in 3 months, how would you say that you fared in addressing the issue of security in your state?
Thank you very much, my brother Terry, and thank you for having me. Of course, you've covered me for 4 years in the National Assembly. I'm happy today you're also here with me. Of course, in the last 3 months, we've done a lot in Kaduna State in terms of trying to see what we could do to be able to handle the problem of insecurity we're facing in Kaduna State. Of course, I think I was the first governor in Nigeria to visit the Chief of Army Staff, the Chief of Air Staff, as well as the Chief of Defense Staff. Of course, I had a very fruitful conversation with the Chief of Defense Staff, who happens to be from Kaduna. That is General Christopher, who is from Kaduna State and Zangon local government in particular. And of course, both myself and him understands the situation of insecurity in Kaduna State. So we'll look at the situation critically, and after our discussion with him, that was over a month ago. And of course, he has done a lot in trying to link up with all the security agencies that are in Kaduna State. And after meeting with him, of course, I was very lucky because the current Chief of Army Staff, General Labaja, of course, you must be aware that he was the GOC 1 Mechanized Division Kaduna. So he has worked with us in Kaduna for years. And of course, during his time in Kaduna, we work closely with him and we partner with him. He has led some very important operations, both in southern Kaduna and also as well as Binangwari local government. So both myself and the current Chief Army Staff have worked closely when he was the commander of the GOC 1 Mechanized Division in Kaduna. So he's familiar with the situation, just as I'm also familiar with the situation. So we sat down with him. We look at the issue. Of course, there are some things he has done in Kaduna, which of course I also asked him to ensure that the current GOC that have succeeded him is also encouraged to do the same. And we're happy that the current GOC have also followed in what the Chief Army Staff was doing when he was a GOC 1 Mechanization in Kaduna. Of course, also the Chief of Air Staff is someone who have lived in Kaduna most of his life. He's someone who also is familiar with the crisis, particularly the problem in Binongwari Aziz that bordered with Niger State. We sat down with him also, and we have assured them our cooperation. And since my meeting with the Chief of Air Staff, we have been working closely together. I've been giving them all the necessary support. And that is the reason why today I can say that we have been achieving some success in terms of handling the problem. Beside that, you are also aware that when I was in the National Assembly, which you covered me very well, I was someone who advocated for the creation of state police at that time. Having said that, and you know, you're also aware that we tried as much as possible to have that, but we did not succeed at the level of a conference committee. So coming to Kaduna, also revive our Kaduna State Vigilance Service. As we are speaking right now, in the next one, we are going to recruit at least 7,000 youths who are going to be enrolling our Kaduna State Vigilance Service, because having discussed with both the Chief of Army Staff and the Chief of Air Staff, we realized that the security agencies are lacking the boots. And of course, they need the support and cooperation of our local vigilance services. As of today, we have only about 2,000, but now we're recruiting another 7,000 to make them 9,000. And I'm happy both the Commissioner of Police, the Director of DSS, and even the GOC here in Kaduna are all involved in making sure that our vigilance service are having adequate training by using the police college to train them. And for me, that is very key. And of course, in the last few weeks, we also had series of security meetings with both the traditional rulers, the religious leaders, the youths, non-governmental organization, because we know security is something that everyone must be involved in. We want to resolve the problem, as well as ensuring that we have a very strong and reliable intelligence gathering.
Absolutely, Governor Sani. So while you talk about collaboration among security agencies and you bank on the support of the security heads, one thing that former Governor Nasir El-Rufai complained about, I think 2 years ago, was the lack of cooperation with regards to addressing security among the northern governors that are suffering from banditry. Yes, it's been 3 months that you've been in the saddle, but what sort of support are you getting? Or are there conversations leading with regard to cooperation among northern governors?
Yes, I can say that in the last 2 months, we had a series of meetings. My humble self, the governor of Kaduna State, the governor of Zamfara State, the governor of Niger State, as well as the governor of Kebbi State. In fact, we met Mr. President, and we discussed the issue of insecurity in our own states. And as I'm speaking with you, we're on the same page. We're all trying our best to make sure that we have a joint operation. Other governors have also visited the service chiefs. And of course, only a few days ago, I also had the opportunity of sitting down and discussing some strategies with the National Security Advisor. And we are trying to also bring other governors together, just those I have mentioned. So we are having a joint conversation and collaboration, and we are willing to sponsor the joint operation because whether we like it or not, all of us share the same border. And these bandits, if we don't handle the situation collectively, we can never resolve this problem because they can be in Kaduna today. If we attack them in Kaduna using the Air Force, through aerial bombardment, the next moment they would be in Zamfara State or in Niger State. So all of us are now working, we're on the same page. The only approach to some extent might not necessarily be the same. Well, we believe that security is something that everyone must be involved. In my own case, I believe we need to mobilize and galvanize our communities to be on alert, to also support the various security agencies with intelligence gathering, and we encourage the security agency by giving them all the necessary support. At this moment, I'm someone who believes in sitting down with the bandits. I only believe that what we need to do is to carry our people along, and of course, we know when the military using the kinetics approach to the issue, we also have to sit down and ensure that we carry the people along and encourage them. That is very, very important.
All right. Yeah. Your Excellency, let's lift the issue of security now and touch on something else that touches the people directly, and that's the issue of the standard of living in the country as it stands now.
What do you say?
Standard of living in the country at this moment. With the removal of fuel subsidy, the standard of living has really gone high, and not a lot of people can afford it. A lot of people turn to governors for support, and we find that some governors are putting measures in place to cushion the effect of the removal of fuel subsidy. So before we talk about the 5 billion naira palliatives that governors are to handle, let me hear from you firsthand what you're doing to address that issue.
Of course,
the effect of the removal of fuel subsidy in your state.
Of course, in Kaduna State, even before the federal government promised to give us 5 billion naira, we have already gone far in looking at the situation and resolving the issue and handling the issue at our level. You know, of course, federal government have promised to support state governments and state governors with 5 billion naira each. We're happy about that. As of this moment, 2 billion have been given. And of course, in my own case, even before the support from the federal government, we have gone far. Of course, if you recall, only a few weeks ago, I signed an executive order on financial inclusion. I know the situation very well. It's something I have known very well. And of course, that is the reason why we're very proactive in Kaduna. We do not wait for the federal government to intervene. We were so proactive, and that was the reason why what do we do first? We try to educate our people on financial literacy. We try as much as possible to bring about 2.1 million vulnerable, underserved people from rural areas into financial services in Kaduna State. That has gone far. And of course, because we want them to be able to benefit from our state's interventions, and that is what we intend to do. That's what we're doing at the moment. And even the recruitment of 7,000 youths into our vigilance services is something we've done even before the federal government intervention. But having said that, my approach in Kaduna State is something that is not about me as the governor. The meeting on how we intend to resolve this issue and support the downtrodden, the underserved, and the poor because of this fuel subsidy is something that is being led even by the labor unions in Kaduna State. The meeting just finished this afternoon, and of course, let me finish. The meeting just finished this afternoon, headed by the deputy governor. In our committee, only 4 members of our government are in the committee. The rest, 17 members are members of the labor union. TUC, Nigeria Road Transport Workers, as well as the market women, disability, or a non-governmental organization. They have sat down together. We've told them we've collected 2 billion from the federal government, and we're working out on the nature of approach. They all agree collectively that we need to buy foodstuff to distribute to the poor. We have targeted 1.2 million on the underserved, poor, and vulnerable people that will benefit from this in the next 7 days. So this is the approach we have taken in Kaduna. It's not about the government. It's about we want the labor, the unions, as well as the other important organizations like Market Women, Farmers Association, Disability, as well as the youth organization, who are non-governmental organizations, to drive the process, not government, because this issue is very critical. You must agree with me that we as government, we must be very careful. We need to accept the fact that we govern the people, and the people must always have a say. That is the approach.
So Governor Sani, that's the point I want to take it from. And I know that you're speaking like this because you follow the reaction of Nigerians and specifically the labor unions who have said that the governor should not be trusted with these funds. And as anyone can always point out, the way they manage the COVID-19 funds and the bailout funds were questionable. So Nigerians are not sure if that should be the case. Interestingly, you're just sitting in that seat as governor. And so you're not part of those that share in that distrust. But let me ask you this question, and if you can be brief about this. With regard to the mode of sharing these palliatives or distribution of those palliatives, did the NEC spell it out to the governors on how these palliatives would be distributed in such a manner that it would be transparent and would receive the trust of Nigerians?
I think at the level of NEC meeting, if you recall, I was among the governors that briefed the media after the meeting. We all agreed that we should go back home and carry everyone along because you see this money, the 2 billion and the 3 billion that might come hopefully in the next few weeks or few days is something that is a kind of intervention, which the whole purpose of that is to reduce the hardship and suffering of the people of our own various states. And I believe as government, we may not have the monopoly of wisdom on how we should be able to handle this issue. So I believe those people that are close to the people, the labor organization, the market women, the farmers, these are the people that constitute are close to the vulnerable people, the underserved and the poor. So that's the reason why we all agree that we should carry them along, we should work with them closely, and they should be the one to drive the process. But in Kaduna, let me correct what you just said. I'm not doing that because of the outcry. It's simply because if you look at my own background and my antecedent, I was part of the labor movement in Nigeria. I fought for the term of democracy. I've always been in the human rights movement in this country. We fought for democracy, so I'm part of them. And probably that's the reason why when I was appointing my advisors, I wrote to the Nigerian Labour Congress to nominate one of them to be my advisor on labor. So in Kaduna, we have advisor on labor. So whatever decision we're taking, we bring them to the table. So we don't take a decision without involving non-governmental organization, the labor union, the market women, everybody is involved. Governance is about carrying one along. That's what we do in Kaduna. It's simply probably because of my antecedent and my background.
Well, it's almost 100 days in office now, Governor Sani. As we say goodbye, when you look back at how far you've come and the fact that you have just a couple of weeks to 100 days in office, can you say you hit the ground running?
Yeah, I can say that. I'm happy to also announce to you that only last week, I'm sure you're aware, through my effort and our perseverance, we have been able to, because when we came in, we have announced to the people of Kaduna that they should be patient. We know the situation generally in the country. Of course, it's not only Kaduna. We're facing economic crisis, not only in Kaduna, but in the whole country. And I assured them that we will try and partner with development partners to bring development to Kaduna. Only last week, through our effort, we had a very important collaboration with the Qatar Charity Fund, and they have they came to Kaduna last week with the ambassador, my brother. He came in here and we did the groundbreaking. Okay. Only last week, and Qatar Charity Fund are building economic city in Kaduna. I'm sure you saw the whole program, and of course they are building houses that at least 500,000 people of Kaduna will benefit. The South, the poor. Let me finish.
I'm sorry,
this is
Your
very
Excellency.
Important project. This is very important project. This is important for me.
All right, as quickly as you can then.
Yeah, so of course, not only building, I want to tell you, it's not the era of borrowing money. This is free. That's why I want to thank the Qatar Charity Fund, putting over $20 million free in Kaduna. That is something that I promised the people of Kaduna, said I'm going to go out and get development partners. They're building hospitals, building, ensuring that they give scholarship to about 2,000 underprivileged and orphans.
All right, Your Excellency.
Ensuring that they support our farmers. This is something that's commendable. Apart from that, only today.
Your Excellency, I'd like to say, I most sincerely apologize. Time flies, but I thank you very much for your time, and I believe that we would have more time to speak on your achievements.
My brother Terry, you know me very well from the Senate. Whenever you want to interview me, give me time, because I have a lot to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.